Char cloth. What is it and how do I make it? Well, in episode 2 of our backyard bushcraft series, we're going to go outside and make some in our backyard. Stay tuned. What's up, everyone? PA Outdoors here. Char cloth. We're going to make some in our backyard. First of all, what is it? Char cloth is basically a cotton cloth, 100% cotton cloth that you char in a fire. You don't burn it. Basically, the idea of charring cloth is basically cooking at a high temperature in a low oxygen environment without the flames actually coming in contact with it. Obviously, you don't want to burn it over an open flame because it'll just burn up and be gone. So we're cooking it the same way your charcoal briquettes are made, in a similar process to charred wood from your fire. How do you use it? Once it's charred, it becomes not flammable, but it will take a spark extremely easily in a very low temperature ignition spark, typically used with flint and steel, because the sparks that come off of flint and steel are much lower in temperature than the sparks that come off of your ferro rod. Most of your standard typical tinders that you use your ferro rod with just won't ignite from flint and steel because of the low temperature. Well, why do we make char cloth? Some nice things about char cloth is it's easy to carry, there's nothing to it, and the primary use is what they call the next fire. So you've got your first fire going, but now if you don't have any other tinders, this gives you the ability to make your second tinder source for your next fire in your first fire that you have ongoing. And that way, if the next day or the next evening, whenever you plan on making your second fire, if the woods are drenched, you still have at least char cloth to take an ember. And if you carry around a high carbon steel knife, you can get sparks off of that with a piece of flint or quartz, chert, any hard, brittle rock that you might find usually in riverbeds, dried up riverbeds, and those sorts of things. So if you've got a hard rock and a high carbon knife and some char cloth, you've got the makings for a fire. So what do you need to make char cloth? You're going to need a 100% cotton material. I know, lots of guys in their emergency kits, they always make sure they've got a 100% cotton bandana. And that's great, but in my experience, the bandana material, it's so thin, by the time you char it, it's almost like tissue paper. It is very brittle and hard to work with, in my opinion. The materials that I found work the best are old jeans, 100% cotton denim. That's real thick. It gives you a nice finished product of char cloth. Or what I do sometimes is I just go to Walmart. I buy a yard, which is 3 foot by 3 foot, of 100% cotton. They call it duck canvas. It's very similar to, it's a thinner but cheaper version of like Carhartt jacket material, duck canvas. And I think you can get it for like $4 a yard, and you'll have material to make char cloth for years and years, in my opinion. And this is, just as I said, from Walmart. This is that 100% cotton canvas, just a big pile of it. I usually like to cut it up into strips. It's just easier for me to use, and once it's charred, it's very easy to just tear apart, so you don't even need to use the whole section. So you'll need your material. You'll need something to char it in. Any good metal steel container that has a good seal to it will work. I mean, I usually use an Altoids tin. Now I punch a hole in the top of mine. I know some guys that don't. They feel that the little slots by the hinges, there's enough opening there to expose to let the oxygen out. And they're probably right. I've just been in the habit of punching a hole in the top, so that's what I do. So you've got your container, your metal container. You've got your material. What else are we going to need? Well, we're going to need a fire, a heat source. What can I use? You got a bunch of options. Again, if you have a fire pit, you're golden. Build yourself a fire, get yourself a good bed of coals, stick your material in your tin, pop that in the coals. Make sure you have tongs or sticks or a multi-tool or something to pull this out, because obviously it's going to be hot. You have a charcoal grill. That should work too. Light your charcoal, let it burn down like you would when you're cooking. You can either, cook your burgers, cook your dogs, and when you're all done, toss the tin in the remaining charcoal and let it go. That will work also. I'm going to use the side burner on my propane grill. It doesn't do as nice of a job as I would wish it would. It doesn't char it, perfectly, and I think that's mainly because you get this thing in coals or in the charcoal or in your ashes. You can kind of, get all the way around and get heat going, all the way around the tin. On my burner on my gas grill, you're only getting flame at the bottom. So you usually have to do it longer. There's been some times where I've had to kind of flip the material over and reorganize a little bit so I can get it charred on the top or on both sides, whatever it may be. But it does work, and that's the method I'm going to use here for you guys today. When we get outside, I'll kind of walk you through the process. One tip I will give right now before we start is, when you think you're all done, when you feel like you've had it on there long enough and it's all charred and you don't have smoke coming out the hole anymore, you take it out. Do not open this thing up right away. Take a look at how it's done, because you're going to get oxygen into it immediately and it's going to start to create embers all on its own, and your char cloth will just burn away to nothing. So you've got it, once you take it off the heat, you set it off to the side, let it completely cool down to the touch. Then you can open up and see how it went. And if you saw in here, there's some char cloth in here that isn't quite charred all the way. I've got you can see it's still got some brown coloring to it. It's not completely black, so that's no good. Parts of that the cloth is okay, but it's not 100% charred, so I've got to finish charring that up. Alright, so let's get outdoors. I will get my grill fired up, and we're going to make some char cloth. Stay tuned. Okay, I apologize, the air conditioner just kicked on, but got my Altoids tin. I just punched a hole in the center of it with I just used an awl and a hammer. I put about, 5 or 6 pieces of that cloth in there, that cotton cloth. There's the grill. Let's get this going. Alright, just fired it up. Got the Altoid tin on there. Like I said, this probably isn't the most efficient way to do it, given the fact that it's not enclosed and it's sitting up off the flame there a little bit, but you can see it going, and the paint will slowly burn off, and we'll start seeing some smoke coming through that hole. So we'll be back when all that starts happening. Okay, so that's been about 2 minutes, and you can see a little bit of whisper of smoke every once in a while coming out of that hole. Occasionally a little flame will shoot out, almost looking like a little candle, but we'll keep on going. There's a little flame coming out of the top like a little candle. That means we're moving right along. Alright, let's let this go a little longer. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes, give or take. I kind of don't expect it to be done yet, just because, like I said before, this is a pretty inefficient way of making it. But we're going to take it off and see how it looks. Got the trusty tongs. Just going to take it off, set it off to the side here. The most important thing is you've got to let it cool down. If I open this right now, embers will start forming on any of the char cloth, or even all the char cloth, and it'll just burn away to nothing. So you let it cool down, then we can pop it open and see where we're at. Okay, just after a couple minutes, the tin's cooled to the touch. Let's open it up and see how we did. Now, it looks pretty good. You can see how much smaller the pieces end up after they're charred. Nice and black. None of that tan color left. See all that right there. That's what we're looking for. Alright, cool. Alright, now how easy is the light? Get my piece of char cloth. I'm just going to lay this right on top of a piece of flint. Obviously you'd have your tinder bundle all ready. Some dry grass and whatnot. So let's see how this goes. See if I can get a spark on there. The idea is we're going to create some sparks and hopefully they drop on top of the char cloth. There we go. See how it's burning away right there? You lay this in your tinder bundle and start to blow it into flame. And obviously if you can get a spark off of flint and steel, you can definitely get this to catch a spark off a ferro rod, no problem. That easy. Alright guys, PA Outdoors, please click the like, the share buttons, comment on this video if you've got any other tricks or tips on making and using char cloth. Please subscribe to my channel. There'll be more of these backyard videos coming up real soon. Thanks for watching. Get outdoors, enjoy yourself, practice your skills in your backyard, but remember, be safe out there. Thanks for watching.